Watch my last video, you know I do a ton of online vintage shopping, which is something that like really takes practice to be able to get good at sourcing cool vintage things that don't cost a ton of money. I think one of the downsides to vintage shopping online is that if you wait until something becomes really trendy or popular, then people start sourcing all of that particular kind of item and then they like jack the prices way up, which means that when you go to look for them, everything's just like super expensive. And I think one of the coolest parts of vintage shopping is that you can find really amazing pieces for not a ton of money. To be able to do that, I think you really need to be able to cultivate like your own idea of what is cool before everybody else realizes that it's cool. So I thought it would be cool if I shared some of the things that I've been shopping for that I think are super cool and I haven't really seen other people mention as being like trendy or popular or in or whatever, to try to help you find some of these cool vintage pieces like before they go viral. And maybe they never go viral, that's not the point. The point is to find really unique pieces that you're able to scoop up for a decent price before people start like curating them into these like, you know, $500 a piece vintage collections. So I'm gonna walk you through a bunch of different things that I have saved on Etsy and eBay, the search terms that I'm using to source these particular items, and just kind of show you what like my vision is for these kinds of pieces. First up are these like 1960s wool cycling jerseys, which are a very recent discovery for me. I have never seen these anywhere. I did not know these existed, and I don't even remember how I like stumbled across them for the first time. But once I did, I realized that this is a treasure trove of cool vintage. They're super colorful. They have all of these interesting designs and like typography and stripes and just like really fun things going on that I think make them really interesting and unique. They're kind of like a graphic tee, but I think way more interesting. I also love that they have like kind of a raised mock neck collar, and most of them have a zipper, which I just think makes it like really versatile in terms of how you could style it. Again, I think it's like as simple to wear as a graphic tee, and in my mind, that's how I would treat it. Like just put it on with a pair of jeans, but it's going to be so much more interesting than like your typical band t-shirt or whatever. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just, we all know about them. I don't think we all know about 1960s cycling jerseys yet. One thing I will note about these is that because they were made for like road cycling, they tend to be tight fitting. So just know if you're going for like a baggy, oversized look, it might be hard to find. Most of these were made for men, so you might be able to find some that are just like for a bigger person than you. But in general, I would expect these to fit just a little bit more on the tight side. So check the measurements. I'll show you a few that I have saved that I think are just incredible. I love this like navy blue peach salmon situation. I love the striped sleeves. I think you could just wear this with like a pair of light wash, straight leg denim, a pair of sandals, a pair of flats. It would be like such a cool outfit. I also love this like red, white, black situation. It's a little bit more like graphic and punchy, but again, just so cool. And I love the stripes around the collar. Like, I just think it's giving that same kind of energy that your favorite graphic tee would give, but like, I've never seen a graphic tee like this. Another thing I love about these is that they have these little button pockets in the back, which are for holding like water bottles and things while you're riding your bike, which, I mean, you could use it for that, but I just think it's like a fun little snazzy detail, which I love. I guess you could put like snacks in it. I don't know, you could probably put your phone in it. It's kind of a funny place to keep it, but the point isn't the utility of it. The point is that the details add something really unique and different and interesting. I also love this orange Adidas one. It reminds me a little bit of this brand, which it has been making, 100% merino wool, like active wear for a few years now. I think all of their stuff is really cool. And these cycling jerseys kind of remind me of the things that they make. But obviously they're like one of a kind, super unique vintage. I love the colors of this one. I love that it has that like one little green stripe around the collar. Just the like contrast of that like pistachio green with this really pretty orange, I think is such a good color combination. You could mix and match this with so many different things in your wardrobe. Love it. I think it's incredibly cool. You could wear this all the time. I do also think you could wear these as activewear if you wanted to. That's what they're made for. So you could totally wear this to like a yoga class or a Pilates class or tennis or something like that. I have also found a handful of these that are like a long sleeve jacket version. So if the short sleeve doesn't do it for you for whatever reason, maybe consider a long sleeve. This one I think is like such a good entry point. It's not quite as out there in terms of the design and colors as some of the other ones. And it would just look so cute with a pair of like denim shorts and sandals, just super laid back this summer. I picture it like on a trip at a lake house or just something like really undone and laid back and casual. I do own one of these myself. I just bought it like a week ago and it is so cool. I love it so much. The color, the stripes, the whole vibe that it is putting out there. Ugh, it's so good. I love a mock neck. And I think it's like as versatile, like I keep saying, as versatile as a graphic t-shirt, but infinitely more interesting and unique. And I have not seen anybody else wearing these yet. So I don't know, I think they could become a thing. In a somewhat similar vein, I have also been really into vintage motocross jerseys. They give kind of a similar energy, but instead of the like 1960s, 70s Italian vibe, these are like 80s, 90s Southern California vibe. They're literally just graphic t-shirts, but like they are so over the top in a way that I think is just super, super cool. I can't take full credit for this idea. I did get inspired by this outfit, which motivated me to instantly run to eBay and start searching for my own jersey, which I did buy, and I wear it all the time. Like truly, I have worn this shirt at least once a week since I bought it. One of the things, in addition to just like the general vibe that these shirts put out, some of the things that I really love about them, they tend to be like heavyweight. They tend to be really oversized, which I think is just super cool. And again, they have like a mock neck, which gives it something a little bit more interesting than just a typical crew neck t-shirt, which is also great, but we like to have variety. The one I have is, in the grand scheme of things, on the more simple side. It's kind of funny to say because it does have like blue glittery flames running up the sleeves and like a logo tramp stamp. I don't think that's the technical term, but that's what I'm calling it. But still, like in the grand scheme of things, the design of mine is a little bit more on the simple side. Some of these can get totally wild and over the top, which I personally love. I think they're so much fun. I like to wear mine with like fancier jewelry. So I'll do like a big pair of hoop earrings or like a cocktail ring, things that are a little bit more feminine to offset the energy that it's like 15-year-old boy in the 90s. A few of these that I currently have saved, I really like this like navy blue, maroon, black situation. You still have a lot going on with just the overall design of this, but I think the color palette is a little bit more muted. So makes it a little bit more approachable and versatile if the like really loud over the top version isn't your thing. I think this one in particular would look great with like a chunky silver earring of some kind. Maybe some sequins, like again, something to really like offset that masculine energy with really, really feminine accessories. Also a slightly more simple version of this. It's basically a white t-shirt, but with a little bit more flair going on. Even though it is a little bit more simple, I still think like the shape and the cut of this is doing so much of the heavy lifting to make it really interesting. And like I said, the fit of these is one of my favorite things about them. So love this. I think it would be like a super easy version of it to work into your current wardrobe. This one is a little bit more out there. It's a little bit more on the busy, wild, like over the top side. I think it's great. I love the colors. I love that little like slice of neon yellow with like the bright, bright blue and red, like just those really punchy in your face colors, I think are so fun. And, you know, make it so that if you wore this with just a pair of vintage Levi's, you don't need to do a whole lot else to make the outfit really interesting. And lastly, we have this one, which is like the most over the top one that I have saved. Again, you just have these like super bright, fun colors. There's like text everywhere, there's stripes, there's like so much going on. The mock neck is printed with a logo. If you are the kind of person that likes to play with color, that enjoys a graphic tee, that likes to do something that's a little bit more out there, I think these shirts are just really, really, really cool. And aside from that one reference photo that I shared, I really haven't seen people wearing these. So again, I think you would be ahead of the curve. This next one's kind of like borderline. I do think this particular item is becoming very popular this summer, and that is vintage windbreakers. I've definitely seen people start to wear these over the last few months, but they haven't reached that sort of tipping point where it's hard to find them or they've gotten really expensive. I think you can find tons of vintage windbreakers online for a really reasonable price. And a lot of them have really cool details that I think modern, like currently made versions of them don't have. I love this like blue 1970s sailing jacket. I think it's so cool. It's like the perfect lightweight summer jacket. And this one has these little wood beads on the end of the hood drawstring, which I think it's such a cool, fun little detail that makes it feel like a really special piece and not just like some run-of-the-mill windbreaker. A similar version from the 1980s. This one is a little bit different in terms of the fit. I like that it has these little bits of contrast with the pockets and the striped collar. And I really think this is the kind of jacket that you could wear like all summer. Like anytime you're out at night and it's just a tiny bit chilly and you need like a light layer, a jacket like this would be just incredibly cool. This one also happens to be only $40, which frankly is a steal. The last one in this category is this like bright yellow Morton Salt Girl jacket, which I just think is so fun and so cool. The color of it obviously is the thing that sets this particular one apart. I think you could wear this all summer with jeans and a white t-shirt and just be living your best like nautical seaside Nantucket Maine life. Like I just picture you, you know, walking on a chilly beach or wearing this over a swimsuit. Like, oh, you could wear this as a layer over a swimsuit, and I think it would be so fun and so cool. Also $39, so another steal, which proves my point that even though windbreakers are like in currently, you can still find tons of versions of these for really reasonable prices. The next thing that I've been weirdly into lately is terry cloth. Just like categorically anything made of terry cloth. There's a lot of this from the 60s and 70s where people were making these like pool towel cabana shirts, which I'm sure were meant to be worn like to the pool over your swimsuit. And there's just something about them that I find incredibly charming. I think they like read super nostalgic, but honestly, there's also something kind of utilitarian about it, right? Like if you are swimming or going to the lake or whatever it is and you need to dry off, it is a towel in addition to being your outfit. And I love something that does double duty like that. These do kind of run the gamut in terms of price. I have seen some terry cloth things, you know, that surpass a couple $100s, including this shirt, which I think is incredible. That like bright poppy blue with the dark green, the wave pattern, like this shirt is incredibly cool. It is $250, which in my mind is pretty steep for a terry cloth shirt. But I did just want to show you kind of that like upper threshold of these. That said, there are lots of versions that are much more affordable than this one, including this super cute little yellow t-shirt, which is made of terry cloth, but doesn't have anything else going on. It's really simple, but it has this really fun texture when you get up close, which I think is delightful. It kind of gives me like Susie Condi vibes, which we're not mad about because Susie Condi is very expensive. And this is on sale for $52. So we like that. Similar yellow situation going on, but like normal t-shirt fit. And I like that it has like this funny slogan on it. Sports, be in it. Nobody knows what that means, but it's interesting and it's fun and it's made of terry cloth, which is just delightful. Like from a distance, this looks just like a normal t-shirt, and then you zoom in and you're like, what? I just think it's great. There is something about it that just puts a smile on my face and makes me want to wear it. I also found this terry cloth jacket, which in my mind is like the ideal bridge between the Windbreaker sailing jacket and the terry cloth. Like we're just merging those two things into one incredible piece of clothing. I love this jacket. I love the color. I love that it has those two drawstrings. Love that it has a hood. I think this jacket is so cool. I love the big like patch pockets with the button on the front. This is like a buy it for life item. I think you could have this in your wardrobe forever. It's always going to be cool. You're always going to be able to use it. And it's like both fun and chic and practical, which is like the best of all the worlds. And $88 for a jacket is honestly, in 2025, pretty reasonable. Last category I want to talk about today are these chunky hand knit sweaters that I think are called Cowichan sweaters. There is a good chance I'm saying that word wrong. And if I am, and you know how to pronounce it, tell me, because I would love to know. I think it's Cowichan. Cowichan? Fact check me, but like, don't fact check me, you know? Anyway, these sweaters exist in mass on Etsy. Like you can find so many of these sweaters. They're hand knit, they're wool, and they all have like a fun motif of some kind, which I think makes them really cool and interesting. Yes, these are chunky sweaters. Yes, they're wool, which means they're warm. And so you would think that these could be like a winter thing, and you could totally wear them in the winter. But I also think these make a great summer layer. I would absolutely wear this with like a pair of denim cutoffs or running shorts, sitting outside in the evening by a campfire or drinking a glass of wine on the patio. I don't know, whatever your evening leisure activity of choice is this summer, I think you could wear one of these cardigans and be very cozy and very cute. Again, this is a category where some of these can be expensive. This one with the fish, for example, $400. It's pretty steep for a sweater. They are handmade and they are 100% wool, which I think is what makes that price tip a little bit steeper. But you can find versions of these that are not crazy expensive. Walking down the line in price on these, we have this like blue and yellow sailing nautical version, which I think is adorable, $300. Again, pretty steep, but we're gonna like creep our way down. And I do love the whole kind of vibe of this. I love the sailboats and the anchors. I think it's really special. Again, this is something I think you could buy and have forever, and it's not going to like look old in a bad way or go out of style. So this is something that I would try to think of as an investment piece, even though we are going to try to find some at a much more reasonable price point. We have this one for $265, which is getting more in the ballpark of reasonable. It has this little like car motif going on, which honestly looks exactly like the car sweater that Kate put out a couple of years ago. I have seen a handful of these Cowichan sweaters with this car motif on them. I would not be surprised if that's where Kate got the design from. So if you were into that sweater, you could probably find some version of this sweater that is actually vintage and much more affordable than Kate. We have another one with a sailing motif down to $170. I love the bright red of this, and I love the like typography situation going on. I think this sweater, this one might be my favorite of the bunch. I think it is just so cool and so fun, and you could wear this with so many different things. I really love this one. $170 I think is like in the ballpark of reasonable for what this is, but we're gonna keep looking. We're gonna keep seeing if we can get an even better price. Okay, similar price range, $160, but I love the design of this. That like Greek pottery situation going on, again, really reminds me of Susie Condi. They make this sweater that has been like so popular for the last couple of years and literally is $2,000, which is ridiculous. Nobody should be spending $2,000 on a sweater. Like, even if you can afford that, I think that's ridiculous. So if that sweater speaks to you, like it speaks to me, this might be a really fun option for you. I think it's giving like a very similar energy, but again, it's vintage and only $160, which when you compare it to $2,000 is like practically free. Okay, last one I'm gonna share, we've gotten as low as $135, which I think is very reasonable for hand knit wool sweater. It's got a hockey motif, which I think is really fun. I have not seen a lot of these with like hockey going on. And the name George across the front pocket, which is delightful. I want a George hockey sweater. I love that the front of it is a little bit more simple. Again, if like some of these more over the top color palettes and designs aren't really your vibe, something like this could be really great. It's basically like a cream sweater, but it has a little bit of interest going on. Like these little checkers across the sleeve and the hem. Again, the name George, which honestly is like, do you need more of a selling point than that? Because I don't. I'm also just now realizing that maybe like those black stripes at the top of the pockets are meant to be like hockey pucks, which say less. You know what I mean? Like, that's great. That's great. We love that. I'm realizing as I'm going through all of these different things, there is kind of a through line in what these pieces do or like how they function in your wardrobe. And I think that through line is essentially that they're all kind of basic pieces in terms of what they are. It's like a cardigan, a t-shirt, a jacket. They're not like reinventing the format of clothing, but the design of them and the interest that they're achieving with like color and pattern and just interesting details really elevates them to a place where they can take a very simple outfit like a jean and a t-shirt and a sandal and make it into something super cool and unique and interesting. I personally love clothes that do a lot of heavy lifting like that because you don't have to think so hard about how to wear them or how to make them work with the clothes that you already have. Like these cardigans, for example, I think you could wear them as easily with a pair of jeans, a pair of trousers, shorts, a dress, a skirt, a swimsuit. Like you can really wear them in a lot of different ways, which makes it incredibly versatile and incredibly easy to just like pull out of your closet and throw on instead of trying to come up with like one outfit that you like wearing with that single piece. So I think they're really versatile. I think they're really simple to wear, but I also think they're fun and they're adding some like visual texture and intrigue to your wardrobe where maybe you have a lot of basics already. Maybe you have like a plain colored cardigan or plain colored t-shirts, and wearing clothes like that is really comfortable and familiar to you. So investing in pieces like this could be like just a riff on what you're already doing. Instead of wearing like a plain white t-shirt, maybe you throw on a motocross jersey. Instead of wearing a graphic tee, maybe you wear one of those cycling shirts. So I think that's really like what all of these pieces are kind of doing in terms of how they fit into your wardrobe. I also think they're all so fun and interesting and unique and unlike anything that is being made today, which just makes it fun. I mean, not just to wear, it makes it fun to look for. Like the amount of fun I have just looking at all of the different versions of these items that exist in the world and just appreciating the design and the craft that went into making them. Like it makes you appreciate how people were making clothes and designing clothes. And I love that. So these are the vintage things that I've been really into lately, that I've been hunting for and finding just so many cool versions of them. I hope some of this has inspired you to add some of these pieces to your wardrobe. And if there's other cool vintage stuff that you've been finding that you haven't really seen be like a trend or something popular, let me know, because I just love to know what interesting things people are discovering on the internet. Like, it's such a treasure trove if you're willing to dig a little.